Hi, I'm Jeff Moran. I want to welcome you to True Texas History, where today it's March 2nd, 2021. And on this day, 185 years ago, Texas declared its independence once again. Now, I say once again because there were several declarations of independence where people declared the Republic of Texas. That happened with the Gutierrez-McGee expedition. It also happened with the Goliad Declaration of Independence in December of 1835, and now again in 1836. Now, with Philip Dimmitt and the Goliad Declaration, some of the people in Texas felt like it was too soon and it might alienate some of the Mexican states that could help us in our struggle for independence. Well, they finally woke up and realized they weren't coming to our aid anyway, so we needed to go ahead and do it on our own. Now, in terms of the events that are going on in Texas on that day, things were quiet at the Alamo that day. The day before, I talked about that. The volunteers from Gonzales reached there. Later on that afternoon, the 12-pounder managed to accidentally hit Santa Anna's headquarters. They didn't realize it was his headquarters, and I kind of got a kick out of that. But on the 3rd, not much was happening there. Not much was happening at Goliad, but there was the Battle of Agua Dulce that was being fought. Because at that point we had military forces in San Antonio at the Alamo. We had a contingent forming in Gonzales, and we had some there at Goliad. And then you had the remainders of Grant and Johnson that had wanted to go down and seize Matamoros. Their situation failed, and they had split up into two groups. One of the groups had been captured already, and the second group, they essentially were out there near San Patricio chasing down horses, and some Mexican forces under General Urrea captured them. I think 6 of them escaped, and even among those 6, 5 of them ended up dying later on in the Goliad massacre. But they had the battle that day, and didn't go well for the Texans. And there at Washington on the Brazos, they went ahead and declared independence. Now, in terms of when you make a declaration of independence, it doesn't automatically make you independent. You've got to fight for it. People are not going to give you your independence. That's true for people, that's true for nations as well. And I wanted to go ahead and read some of this, because I like it. It sounds good. When a government has ceased to protect the lives, liberty, and property of the people from whom its legitimate powers are derived, and for the advancement of whose happiness it was instituted, and so far as being a guarantee for their inestimable and alienable rights, becomes an instrument in the hands of evil rulers for their oppression. Gee, what happens when the government starts to use its power for wickedness rather than righteousness? Well, the people of Texas went ahead and declared independence. And of course, with any declaration of independence, you've got to give your reasons. It's one thing to just go ahead and say you're independent, but they went ahead and listed their reasons. And some of the things it talked about the dissolution of the state constitution, them not following the government not following the constitution, incarcerated in a dungeon for a long time some of their citizens, essentially put them in a black hole. They refused to secure the right of trial by jury. They stationed the military among the people, and the military were superior to the civil power. It demanded the surrender of citizens, ordered military attachments to seize and carry them into the interior for trial, in defiance of the laws and the Constitution. It allowed pirates to seize their vessels. It wouldn't allow them to worship the Almighty according to the dictates of their conscience. It demanded that they deliver up their arms, which are essential to our defense. They invaded the country and didn't protect them from Indians. There's a lot there. They definitely had a case for declaring our independence. Now we had to fight for it, and then we had to go through the whole process of getting other people to recognize our independence after we declared it. Because people, the other nations of the world didn't come running up and embracing us with open arms. Some of those nations actually turned around and were financing the Mexicans, and business was good with Mexico. And they wanted to keep it up. But it's a serious thing to declare independence, and they stated their grievances. Now I know that one of the myths that I had seen is that America is the only nation that ever came along that was devoted to religious liberty. Well, they need to think again, because that is an untruth. Texas was a nation dedicated to religious liberty as well. And those people I confronted about it, you know who you are. But anyways, that's why it helps to know your history. Because when you know your history, you don't fall for all the myths that are making the circuits. Because, I've heard that even espoused from some pulpits of big churches. They need to check their facts. But until next time, and this is definitely a day to be celebrated. I know I was a little wound up about the Corpus Christi Caller-Times and their article about maybe we need to rethink Texas Independence Day and not celebrate it. Well, I think they're wrong. We do need to celebrate it. But anyways, I hope you enjoy the day and that you celebrate and enjoy, and that you understand a little more about it now. So until next time, this is Jeff Murrah wishing you vaya con Dios, my friends. Goodbye.